Good afternoon and welcome back to another segment of The Edge. My name is Julia Trunzo and I'm here with Senator Camera Bartolotta of the 46th District of Pennsylvania. We will be speaking about the opioid crisis that has taken a rise over the last decade in Pennsylvania. Thank you for coming and thank you for being with us today. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, Ms.
Sure.
Bartolotta?
First, thank you so much for talking about such an important issue because it's a
Absolutely.
it's horrible across the whole country, but particularly in Pennsylvania, it's really hit so many people. Again, as you said, I'm a state senator for District 46, which includes Greene County, Washington County, all municipalities except for Peters Township, so it's kind of weird to be here, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And 6 municipalities in Beaver County. So I go from
Wow.
Aliquippa all the way to the corner of West Virginia. It's a
Okay.
large footprint and it's a very diverse population.
Absolutely.
And the opioid issue has hit everyone in some fashion.
Yes, from my understanding, it's definitely risen since about 2006. Do you know why this might be the case?
Well, it's sort of a perfect storm. I've been to on so many task forces. I've been in so many meetings. I've been in hearings across all of Pennsylvania when it comes to the opioid issue.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of it comes from the fact that we are, especially Washington County. Now, 2 years ago, Washington County made national news.
I remember.
It was on the front page of the Washington Post, I believe.
Okay.
And it said, one county, 70 minutes, 8 overdoses. Those were
my
the good old
gosh.
days. It's
Okay.
gotten worse since then. But we are at the crossroads of some major highways, 70 and 79. It brings
Yes,
people in
absolutely.
from Ohio and Chicago and DC and all over. And that brings in a huge influx of the drug trade anyway.
Okay.
But on top of it, there's a lot of poverty. And there's a lot of folks that, they were injured at work. We've got a lot of coal miners. We've got a lot of really, steel workers and people who've worked really hard through their lives. And you put that with the fact that over the years, Big Pharma has done with the opioids what
Yes.
Big Tobacco did with cigarettes way back when.
Okay.
It's just a massive flood of overprescribing,
Yes.
prescribing too many drugs for too long a period of time, and thinking that they were going to be safe. When people, if they're on heavily addictive opioids, get addicted within a week or 2 weeks,
It's so
sometimes the
fast.
first time.
Yes. So what are these used for? If there are so many horrible consequences that can come from it, why do we still continue to prescribe these, and why is the abuse so prominent as well?
Well, it's actually almost like anything. Certain things can be a great asset to healing and
Okay.
to pain control, but left unchecked or left unmoderated or overprescribed, that's when you lead to real trouble. A few
Absolutely.
years back, there was a statistic that said 4 out of 5 heroin addicts started with prescription drugs. And the average age, now this was a couple years ago again, these stats, the average age of an addict was 34. Not 17, not 20. These are folks that were injured and from their doctor prescribing them 30 days of Oxy or Percocet or Vicodin, they took them like it was an antibiotic. Oh, I got to take them till they're done. I got to take
Yeah.
all 30 days. And they become addicted right away. So then once that prescription is over, they ask for more and more. If that doctor refuses it, they doctor shop. If they can't
And they get
those,
someone else.
yeah, if they can't get those drugs, then that's when they turn to street drugs. They turn to heroin, which is cheaper than beer and easier to get, unfortunately.
Do you think we could do anything to help this, especially with prescriptions and in the medical field? Do you think there's something that we could possibly do?
The legislature has been looking at this issue and really sort of tackling it from, a surround the troops and attack the problem from every side that you can imagine.
Yeah.
First, we have to make sure people don't get addicted in the first place.
Okay.
So there's legislation that requires physicians. One of the bills that I'm a co-prime sponsor on is limiting the number of drugs, the days of prescriptions
Okay.
of addictive drugs that emergency room doctors can prescribe.
Okay.
It used to be 30 days. Now we've taken it down to 7.
Okay.
I had some trauma doctors say, make it 3 days.
Wow.
If you need more than 3 days of a heavy narcotic, an opioid,
Absolutely.
then you've got bigger problems.
Okay.
But we took it down to 7. And there are a lot of other bills out there right now, making sure that even dentists and doctors talk to the parents and get their okay.
Especially with kids.
Absolutely.
Yes.
limit the numbers that are prescribed, make sure that doctors are trained to know and start using, again, all of those non-addictive pain medications that we all got along with just fine decades ago. Do you know what they do in Europe after surgery?
What do they do in Europe?
They give you tea.
That's it.
And music. Tea and music, yes. I'm not saying that that's where we need to go, but you know, there's a huge span in between there that we could probably fall on.
Find something in the middle.
Exactly.
So how do you think we could possibly, you mentioned some bills, but like how would we be able to prevent people from getting addicted in the first place so that we kind of would stop the problem before it got worse?
Right. I think especially with a lot of the young people that are out there having, you know, Skittles parties in colleges, and if people don't know what that is, it is a ludicrous practice that a lot of young people are dangerously participating in.
Okay.
People go and they'll steal medication from grandma's cupboard, or you know, dad had hip replacement or what, and they grab these pills and they toss them into a bowl. Would you do that with chemicals you find under the sink and take a great big swig of? Of course not. But some of these kids are taking pills that people bring in and dump in a bowl. It is the most ridiculous. People have died.
So it's almost like it's no big deal.
It's insanity. So we really need to teach kids, you know, and young people, you know, don't even get started down that path.
Yeah.
Because there are opioid receptors in our brains. We're born with them.
Yes.
Once you get that opioid hit, your brain tells you need it over and over and over again.
And that's where the addiction starts.
And it's really a horrific situation. It ruins your life. It ruins your parents' lives. It ruins, you know, your chances of a good job later on.
Yes.
Because a lot of these people revert to crime, to go and steal drugs or steal things to sell to keep feeding that habit. And I've been talking with, she's a wonderful, wonderful woman. She's been clean for 13 years, but because she robbed her grandma or her mom to get money for drugs, she had a felony record. It has taken this much time and a lot of work and a lot of issues.
Yes.
She couldn't get higher education. A lot of colleges won't take you. You can't get a job because you have a felony record. You can't get housing. If you want to buy a home, if you want to get a better apartment someplace, they'll have an application. You check the box, you're a felon. This ruins your life forever. It's a life sentence, even after you get clean, if you make some really stupid mistakes. So don't start it anyway. And I'll tell you this one little bit before we move on to some more of your questions. I talk a lot, I'm sorry.
No, I like it. It's awesome.
I actually have a very good friend who buried his nephew last year, 23 years old, and here's what happened. This is a kid at 23 who was saying to his uncle, "Oh, I don't do opioids. I don't do heroin. That's crazy. That's for not. I don't do that. Those are drug addicts.
Yeah.
I just smoke weed."
Okay.
Well, the guy that he was buying his pot from thought, "I have an idea. Let's make it so that my clients become addicted to what I'm selling them, and they'll keep coming back, and I'll make a lot of money." He put fentanyl
so it was
in
laced.
the marijuana. Yeah. And he died instantly. That was it.
Oh, that is horrible.
So there's a lot of that out there. Fentanyl is, I don't know, hundreds times more stronger than heroin. And now we've got carfentanil. Carfentanil, it looks like sugar grains or salt grains. 2 or 3 of them on your skin can kill you.
Where are people getting access to drugs like these? Where are they coming from? Well, especially in Pennsylvania, how is this? Is it because we're in such a main thoroughfare?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And because the opioid issue hit so hard, there are all of these criminal aspects out there.
Yes.
And so they go for something stronger and stronger and stronger. With heroin, you have to import it.
Okay.
Fentanyl, you can make yourself.
Okay. So it's easier access?
Right.
Oh, that's horrible.
It is. So imagine young parents with their kids out at a park somewhere, you know, and little Susie or little Johnny are climbing the ladder, to go down the slide, or they sit on a bench. What happens if, say, sometime the night before, someone was dealing carfentanil?
Yes.
And somebody sits on a park bench, and it goes through their skin. It's a horrific thing to worry about. It really is. So we're trying desperately to tackle this issue from all sides. I have legislation out there actually that makes it so that criminals who sell
Okay.
narcotics that result. Now, right now, we have laws on the books that punish dealers if their client dies from an overdose.
Okay.
On the federal level,
Okay.
they have laws that say if you cause great bodily harm, injury or harm resulting in, if you die and you need to be revived by Narcan,
Yes.
that's great bodily harm. So I'm making it so that our DAs at the state level have the same ability as the federal level to
Okay.
put these dealers behind bars for causing great bodily harm.
Okay.
So I have other bills that are along that line too. So anyway,
That's No, that's
Yeah.
good. That's
Yeah.
very good because it's stopping it before anything starts.
hopefully.
I hope. How else do you think we could prevent this, like locally in Pennsylvania, especially because it's such a big issue?
We have drug take back boxes and events all the time.
Okay.
Like I said, when I'm old. When I was young, our parents used to lock up the liquor cabinet.
Okay.
Okay. We don't lock up our medicine cabinets.
Right.
So unfortunately, there are people, again, they get a full 30 days prescription if
And
they
don't need
sprain
it.
their ankle. And they'll
Okay.
take one or two and like, well, that was kind of expensive. And well, if I fall off the ladder or whatever next month, at least
Need
it'll be,
it.
and they keep it around.
Okay.
So there are, and I just heard this recently, and I'd heard about it before, but this event happened to someone I know.
Yes.
They were selling their home, and they had an open house.
Okay.
And there are people that literally flip through the classified section and look for open houses, and they go house to house to house for their open house. Oh, hey, can I use your restroom? And they go into the bathrooms and they rifle through the medicine cabinets looking
Oh my
for
gosh.
any form of narcotic. It's that bad. So there are drug take-back boxes at police stations. You can
Okay.
call my office if you're looking for one.
So it's to give the medicine
The
bottles away.
unused prescriptions back. Don't flush them down the toilet. Don't put them down the drain. We can't get these drugs out of our water system.
Okay.
Don't flush them. Take them to a drug take-back place. Some
Okay.
pharmacies will do it, some won't, but you have to make some phone calls. We can have a list at our office. We can help you find a drug take-back program.
Okay. How would people understand? Like, I didn't know about this personally. So how would people be informed about this? I think that's a wonderful, wonderful idea.
You mean the drug take-back
Yes.
program? Make
Does
some phone-
everyone
call
know
your
about
police
them?
station. Call your local police station. Call your legislator's office.
Okay.
Ask them about it. Call your local pharmacy and say, do you have a drug take-back box? So,
Okay.
and if they don't have one, they can tell you where it is. I mean, down in Greene County anyway, our fairgrounds, every now and again, they'll have drug take-back day, and they'll have officers there, and they guard it and all that other
Absolutely.
stuff, and they take it, and then they go and they incinerate it properly.
So it's disposing it
Right.
the way you need to do it.
Absolutely.
That is amazing. So how do you think this will aid us in Pennsylvania?
Well, there used to be such a horrible stigma about drug addiction,
Okay.
and nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to talk about it, but now it is so bad. Almost every single person that you know either has something in their family, someone they know, or someone that it's 1 degree of separation when it comes to addiction.
Okay.
And the more we talk about it and the more we understand there's treatment out there. There's
Yes.
lots of different kinds of treatment. As a matter of fact, one of the other bills I have mandates that any medically assisted treatment facility, a
Absolutely.
Suboxone clinic or a methadone clinic, they would have to tell their clients, they don't have to provide the therapies,
Right.
they have to tell them any FDA approved treatment that's out there, if what we offer doesn't work for you, and sometimes it doesn't,
Okay.
you're not, it doesn't mean that you can't be cured.
Yes.
So here's all the
Yes.
other options. They have to at least refer them to other treatment if their
Okay.
particular plan doesn't work. And that's not happening now. So if someone goes to a methadone clinic and it doesn't work for them,
Right.
they feel lost.
Wow.
So this is a bill that would sort of point them in a direction. And behavioral health too. Mental health too is a huge issue
Yes,
behind it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, on the topic of possible things to help people with addictions, we're just going to put it on pause.
Okay.
And we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with this episode of The Edge.
My grandfather served in World War II. Spending time with him were the best memories of my life. I became a physician at VA because of my grandfather, so I can help others like him. I can't imagine working with better doctors or a more dedicated staff. I'm fulfilling my life's mission with the help of my team and thanks to these veterans. I'm proud to be a doctor at VA and proud to honor my grandfather every day. Search VA Careers to find out more.
Hi, welcome back to this segment of The Edge. I'm Julia Trunzo, and I'm here once again with Ms. Camera Bartolotta. So we were just about to talk about the treatment and everything with the opioids. How could we possibly take some precautionary measures to prevent the actual use of opioids?
Well, a lot of the things that might really pertain to your audience in particular, I'll tell you a story. I sat at a lunch table 2 years ago when I first got involved really heavily with task forces and all of that, and learning as much as I could about the whole addiction process and how it's affecting us. This mom was sitting across the lunch table from me, and she had just buried her 19-year-old son. This was an A student, an honor student. He was on the football team. He was, looking forward to a football scholarship. He tore his ACL.
Okay.
And ended up getting surgery, and he was given 30 days of Oxycontin.
Again, that is so long.
And he took it like an antibiotic. Took it all 30 days, and then by the end of it, his body desperately needed it. And one of the ways that I can describe addiction, and this was described at a rally that I was at one time by a recovering addict, and he said, okay, I want everybody in the room to hold your breath. Now hold your breath until you die. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Your body kicks in and takes over and prevents you from dying.
Right.
When you're addicted to opioids, your brain, your body, everything is telling you and screaming at you, you're going to die if you don't get more.
Okay.
So this kid was in that situation, and he had friends that realized, okay, hey, he was reaching out to friends like, I just can't I can't stand it, I need more. Hey, your grandma had surgery, do you have any pills? And his friends were trying to help him out.
Right.
But really what they were doing was causing him...
feeding his addiction.
It was making it worse and worse and worse and worse. And then someone realized that and took advantage of that vulnerability and said, hey, I know where you can get some heroin. It's a lot cheaper, it's a lot easier to get. Let me hook you up. And that was the downfall.
Right. So it can happen to anyone.
It can happen to anybody. You just have to be aware. And if you find yourself, if you've had surgery, if you were injured, if you were whatever, God forbid somebody gives you something laced with fentanyl or heroin, it's an instant addiction sometimes. Recognize it, know it. Don't be ashamed to reach out and get
help.
And tell someone. Just tell someone. Because hiding it and trying to handle it yourself typically results in a spiral downward. And that's not where you want to be. And if you've got friends, if you're in school and you see somebody, maybe they got injured at some point, or maybe they were at a party, maybe they're hanging out with the wrong kind of people, and you realize their personalities are changing, they're getting really moody, they stop showing up for things, they stop participating in things, there's something wrong. Reach out and ask them what the heck's going on.
What can you do? What can you do for someone at that point?
Well, if they won't listen to their friends, and I can handle it, I'm okay. It's just it's just a couple Percocets here or there or whatever. It turns into a big issue really, really fast.
Okay.
So tell their parents, talk to the counselor, talk to a teacher, talk to the coach, talk to anybody that maybe this particular person might
listen to.
Exactly.
Okay.
And respect. Yeah.
Yeah. I understand that sports injuries are definitely a big issue, and the opioid prescriptions have just seemed to be flowing. So is there anything that that we could do, especially as a student, what could we do with sports injuries because they're so rampant?
Well, knowing that, if talk to your doctor. If your doctor prescribes something for you because you've been injured, ask them, is this an addictive substance? Is this an opioid? Is this something that I could get addicted to if I take it for too long? And if the answer is yes, you have a little bit of control there. You can say, hey, doc, I'm really worried about this. Can you give me 3 days of it? And then I'll call you back, and if I'm still in excruciating pain, then maybe we can talk about, refilling it.
Okay.
I mean, you know your body, if you're hurting so much that you can't tolerate it. And that's another problem with this whole opioid thing. A few years back, hospitals started this whole scale, the satisfaction survey, and I'm sure some people have been to the emergency room or the hospital, and their smiley faces on a chart, and smileys, oh, are you, pain-free, or are you, or do you feel terrible? And hospitals were getting more federal funding with the higher satisfaction rate that they got.
Okay.
So how better to get a great satisfaction rate
than
to make you completely numb to everything when you go home.
Wow.
And that's pain is a good thing.
Yes.
Pain tells you, you better not run a mile today. So it's not bad.
Yes. What can students do? Because I know it's a big problem in schools, and there have been lots of overdoses and everything like that. And I know we're informed about it, but how else can students maybe get involved or help with, like, locally taking strides to help this?
Well, it might not be a bad idea to have a school task force, an opioid task force, and bring in speakers on the subject. Bring in former addicts. They're the ones who know what it's like.
Right.
They know how they got started, and they can tell you what the signs are and what to avoid. There's nothing wrong with talking to somebody who's in recovery.
Yeah.
They're the best teachers sometimes. Get a group together and let people know where there are drug take-back programs, when they're happening. Police departments are a great asset for that. Bring the police to the school to do a drug take-back program at the school, and have students tell their families, clean out the medicine cabinet. You don't need to have that stuff hanging around.
Yeah, it's better safe than sorry. Can you tell me a little bit more about the take-back programs? Like, where could we find those, like, close to us?
Well, again, there's the police department in Canonsburg is one of them. I think they do a bi-monthly program.
Okay.
You go on websites. Go on, just Google it. Drug take-back program, and put in your zip code.
Yeah.
Make a phone call. Call your pharmacy. But talk to the police, because they are more eager than anyone, I guarantee you, in getting the opioids off the street. And the fewer there are out there to misuse, the fewer times they're going to be called to respond to give Narcan to somebody who overdosed and is this close to death. So they would be thrilled to have school kids reach out to them and say, we want to help in this situation. We want to participate.
Yes, absolutely. What about if you're worried about a friend? Like you said you told me that story about the boy who overdosed, and his friends were maybe worried about him. What could you possibly do? Is there anything that you can, like, I know you said report it to maybe a friend or a teacher or a parent. Is there anywhere you could go? Is there something that you could possibly do that's a little bit higher up?
Well, I mean, if they could go to an emergency room.
Okay.
And they could say, I have a problem. And they could be evaluated. There are all kinds of community organizations out there dealing with recovery.
Right.
There are places, I mean, just, again, go on your computer and search for addiction recovery. There's AA meetings for alcoholics, and there are NA, Narcotics Anonymous groups that meet weekly, some meet daily.
Right.
And you just get yourself there, talk to people and say, I think I have a problem. They're more than happy to reach out to you. Almost every church around the district these days has some kind of a group that meets there for recovery. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people out there readily available, willing to help you.
Yeah.
And very easy to talk to. There's teen outreach programs. So, I mean, it's not just a bunch of old folks trying to tell you what you did wrong, but there's a lot of teens out there that are in recovery themselves and help pull people through this mess.
Okay.
So they're not alone.
Is there a certain group of people? Is it one certain age group, or is this opioid crisis affecting a wide variety?
Every age group is affected. There are 70-year-old people who've had surgeries.
Okay.
And have gotten addicted to painkillers. And they're functioning, some of them don't spiral into using heroin and fentanyl and those other illegal drugs because, again, they could probably afford to keep the habit going.
Right.
More and more doctors now recognize doctor shopping.
Okay.
So if they've given their patient so many opioids and they keep coming back saying, I still hurt here, I still hurt there, or I lost my prescription, I need another one. Those are signals and those are signs.
It's like a red flag.
Absolutely.
What can possibly be done in the medical field? Do you think there's anything that, even like locally, like local businesses, anything that we could do?
Well, right now there's a lot of legislation out there that are basically stating doctors and dentists and things, when they go for continuing education, they learn about addictive behavior. They learn the signs of a patient who's coming to them that's possibly addicted, and how to first prevent it by offering things that aren't so addictive, limiting the numbers of those drugs that are, and then recognizing the signs and trying to get these people into recovery.
Okay. Is there anything locally that we can do? Like kids, activists, anything?
Well, just be aware and just, be aware of the kids that you see every single day. As a matter of fact, a lot of kids don't realize this, but you see your classmates more than parents see them oftentimes. So you are their best advocate. You are their best source of support sometimes. So recognize if someone's having a hard time. Recognize if someone is depressed or, acting completely different than their normal personality.
Yes, just recognize signs.
Reach out, ask them, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? What's happening? And just treat people the way you want to be treated.
Right. Do you think Pennsylvania in any way may be able to set an example for elsewhere? Because from what I'm talking to you, we're making a lot of effort to try and help this.
Well, this issue has gotten so severe and so bad. We went from maybe 7 or 8 deaths a week in Pennsylvania to 120. I mean, it was just spiraling. But now I've heard recently that number is slowing down a bit. Now, is it because people are realizing that opioids are bad and you shouldn't be taking them and heroin's bad, or is it because a lot of those people that were in addiction are dead? That's a horrible thing to face. But we need to stop the stigma. We need to talk about it. We need to tell people, look, if you've got a problem, reach out. Let's fix this. There's a lot of places that have long-term recovery programs. Those are the ones that people need to get into.
Is there any final advice that you would give to people locally that you could possibly do?
Well, the best way to not be addicted to opioids is to not take them in the first place.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. It was wonderful talking to you. That's all we have time for today. Thank you for tuning into this segment of The Edge. I'm Julia Trunzo, and I was here with Ms. Camera Bartolotta, the Senator of the 46th District of Pennsylvania.